So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back after the Eid holiday. And today we're going to cover Unit 3. But before we do, just like before, we're going to take a writing part, especially today, which is the conclusion. Okay? So last time we took how to write a good introduction, how to write a good thesis statement. But today we are going to cover the conclusion. Some of you might ask, where does the body go? Okay, we'll keep it pleasant. Okay, so today we are going to take some examples or strategies on how to write a good conclusion. Okay, so let's read together. Writing the conclusion. Restating main ideas. Restating main ideas. Let me start this. Hope this is clear. Is it clear? Follow using your handout. Okay, so restating main ideas. Restating means repeating the main ideas in your essay. Okay, so one good strategy to write a conclusion is to repeat the main ideas that you have included in the body of your essay. So take a look at the first example. Read each paragraph and underline the main idea sentence. The main idea sentence. So imagine that this paragraph is part of the body in the essay. So in an essay where you have the introduction and 3 paragraphs, this is just one of them. And this paragraph has one main idea. One main idea. I want to find it, I want to identify it, and then I want to repeat that main idea using other words where in the conclusion. So one good strategy to write a good conclusion is to identify, what are the main ideas of my essay, the ones I mentioned in the body, okay? And then repeating them, restating them, but not exactly. You have to use other words. You have to paraphrase, okay? So let's take a look at the first one. 1. It has been found that many obese people, obese, what does obese mean? Overweight. Never say fat because it's rude. So you say obese or overweight. It has been found that many obese people eat food to get satisfaction, to be satisfied, or to compensate for personality problems. They have a personality problem, so they resort to eating. An overweight girl who is not socially accepted, people don't like her, don't love her, she doesn't have friends, may make herself feel better by eating rich desserts or junk food. People who are tense, afraid, bored, or frustrated may find that eating makes them feel better. A person who lacks affection, no one loves him, or he feels that no one loves him. So a person who lacks affection or recognition may also turn to food, resort to food. There is evidence that psychological factors may play a role in obesity problems for many people. Now before we go on to the options that we have, or the alternatives that we have, from the paragraph, in your own words, can you tell me what is the main idea here in the paragraph? What's the main idea? What do you think? Yes? Reasons. So reasons of obesity. Reasons of obesity. What kind of reasons are mentioned in the paragraph? Let's be more specific. The reasons. Is it physical? Not physical. The opposite of physical. Psychological or mental factors. So if I want to identify the main idea of this paragraph, is that psychological factors may play a role as an effect on our obesity problem. Now this main idea is in the body. Later on, I would like to restate it or repeat it where? In the conclusion. So imagine I have all of these 3 choices. Okay? A, B, and C. Which one is the best sentence to put in my conclusion? C. Let's read C. C says, obesity may be influenced. Okay, by what? By psychological factors. What about the others? Are they wrong? A. Obese people are not socially accepted. It's just an example. An example should, or the detail should go in the body. B. Overweight people may be tense or frustrated. Again, it's just a detail, an example. It's not the main idea. So, let's revise the strategy. You have written your essay, introduction, and you have a number of paragraphs in the body. Each paragraph has a main idea. Later on, when you want to write the conclusion, you identify your main ideas and repeat them, restate them using your own words in the conclusion. Okay? Now that you understand the task, please do numbers 2 and 3 on your own. Read them carefully, identify the main idea, and then choose which is the best sentence to put in my conclusion. So I'll give you about 3 minutes. Try to find out the best one. Take an extra one. I think one of you. Jumana, could you please close the door? Yeah, thank you. All right. Now, who would like to read the paragraph number 2? Who would like to read number 2? Yes, go ahead. What's your name, please? Yes, go ahead. Stop there, please. Now, what do you think? What's the main idea in this paragraph? Yes, Daram? I'm not asking about the alternative. In your own words, what is the main idea in this paragraph? Forget about the choices. In your own words, what's the main idea? Yes? Which are, or which is? The memory unit. Okay. What's the relationship between the memory unit and the importance of computers? Yeah, it doesn't function without it. Can we function without a heart? So it could be the main idea that includes all main ideas or all examples supporting sentences in the paragraph, that the memory unit in a computer is just like a heart in our bodies. Okay? Which takes us to the right choice, which is what? A. The heart of the computer is the memory unit. What about the others, B and C? They are all details, examples. They are not the main idea of the paragraph. Who would like to read number 2? Yes? At the back? Yes, go ahead. Prospective parents. What does it mean? Prospective parents. Very good. Future fathers and mothers, okay, who are expecting a child. Yes, go ahead. Good. So what's the main idea here? Is being a father or mother easy or difficult? Difficult. What does it take to be a good father or good mother? Training, skills, reading, education. Very good. Which of the choices, A, B, or C, captures these ideas? B. Let's read B. It says, being a good parent involves training and effort. What about the other choices? Being a parent can be frustrating. What is this? Detail, example. C. Good parenting is quickly achieved. Is it? No, it's not. So this is contrary to my main idea. Okay? So, to summarize, one strategy to write a conclusion is to repeat your main ideas in the body. In order to repeat them, you need to know them first. You need to identify them. In each paragraph, what are the main ideas in the body? How many advantages or disadvantages did I mention? How many reasons or causes did I mention? I need to know them and then summarize them in the conclusion. But is this the only strategy to write a good conclusion? No. We have other types. We could use a result in the conclusion. So imagine if you in the body have mentioned a number of reasons or a number of issues, and you could mention the result in the conclusion. The second one is statement summary, is what we have been doing right now. Summarizing the main idea. Prediction. What do you think will happen to this problem, to this situation, okay, in 5 years' time? You can insert it into the conclusion. Recommendation. What do you advise to do regarding this issue? Quotation. Someone important or famous said something about this issue, about this problem. What did he say? Does it summarize everything? Perhaps you would like to include it. Or you could have a mix of some of them. You could have a mix of some of them. Okay? Yes? Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I was coming to that. Now, in general, in conclusion, you have two things. You have to summarize some of the main ideas that you have mentioned in the body, and if the topic is about taking sides, whether it's advantages or disadvantages or the best solution to a problem, you need to identify or to state your opinion. What do you think? Advantages are more than disadvantages? Which solution is the best? I think solution C is the best one because, in my opinion, solution C is the best one because 1, 2, 3. Okay? But pay attention. Don't introduce new ideas, new examples in the conclusion. A conclusion is just like a summary, okay, for the reader to really memorize what you have said in the body. Okay? Alright, now it's your turn. Now you have to write a conclusion to the following outline. In one, we have a thesis. Let me highlight this. We have a thesis and we have the main ideas of the body. You need to read this, understand this, then restate the main ideas in your conclusion. What is this? What does it say? Thesis says, attending college is much more difficult. Going to the university, okay, attending college is much more difficult than what? Than attending high school, 12th grade. Why? What are the reasons? Here are the main ideas. A, once we attend college, many of us are working full time, right? So it's difficult, more difficult than high school. B, the course requirements are much more demanding. You have quizzes, research papers, assignments, midterms, and then finals, and so on. So it's much difficult than high school. C, we are responsible for choosing our courses and making sure we meet the graduation requirements. You have to get a certain grade in each course. You are responsible, which makes it what? More difficult than high school. D, we are forced to make difficult career decisions. You have to choose. Would you like to go to IT, business, or English language? This choice makes it difficult upon you if compared with high school where you had to study all the subjects. So, we are forced to make difficult career decisions at this point in our lives if we haven't done so already. Now, I'll give you 3 minutes. Try to summarize these main ideas. Try to repeat the thesis statement using your own words and write a very good conclusion. Bearing in mind that you must insert an element of your opinion, in my opinion. Okay? So I'll give you 3 minutes. Try to write a conclusion, please. No, I'll let you read it. go through the bad book. Okay? Bad book. Okay. Can I listen to some of your conclusions? I would like to read. Need extra time? Since you need to. Let's just give them a minute, okay? Since they are right. Okay. Who would like to read? Who would like to read conclusion? Yes? Just a conclusion. Good. But this is only one main idea. So the responsibility, how difficult it is to take decision. What about being busy? Because you are a full-time employee. Where is it? Here. What about you could have included just only that you are busy, you are a full-time employee, that's why which makes it difficult. And you need to include an element of your opinion. In my opinion, what? You can include something that you can succeed if you did such and such. Just a suggestion. Yes. Very good. What difficulties you need to find them? Okay, you need to mention that despite the difficulties, what kind of difficulties of being a full-time worker, employee, or having to be responsible for your decision. In the conclusion, you need to summarize this. Okay, this is the point of conclusion. We restate the main ideas. What are the main ideas? You need to mention them briefly. Okay? Yes, at the back. Good, very good. But instead of the single word, therefore, use in conclusion to sum up. See? So the reader knows that this is the final paragraph. Anyone else? Anyone? I promise you, you will make mistakes. Okay, so don't be afraid of making mistakes. Yes? Great, 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 great. You can add a sentence or two about your opinion. Okay? But the way you began that is great. Anyone else? Yes? Is there a? Very good. Very good. But you need some signal words like in conclusion to sum up, in my opinion, I agree, and so on. Question? No, you have to take sides. You have to take sides. You have to state your opinion. What do you think? Okay? Yeah, just one. Better to have just one opinion. It depends on the essay. Later on, when you go to other courses in the writing, the writing course. Okay, no problem. But inshallah, you will be exposed later on in your study to other kinds of essays. We have a number of different types of essays. Some of them, you might just explain a problem. So you only mention the reasons without taking any side. But here, it's preferable if you write your opinion right at the end of the conclusion. Okay? Which side are you on? I'll leave the second one for you to do as a practice at home, but we need to start with our Unit 3. Okay? So please, could you just open your book on Unit 3? Unit 3, by the way, is titled, What a Story. What a Story. Now, when you tell stories, which tenses do you use? Past tenses, what kind? What many kinds? Past simple, past perfect, past continuous, of course, active and passive. Okay? So, today we are going to cover a bit about narrative tenses. Narrative tenses are the tenses we use to tell narratives, to tell stories. Okay? Of course, they are all in the past. So, take a look at the board. So, narrative tenses are the tenses that we use to talk about past events, what happened in the past, and tell stories. The most common of these is the past simple. Three other tenses: past continuous, was or were doing something; the past perfect simple; and the past perfect continuous can help us to say what we want more efficiently. Why more efficiently? Because they help us to understand the order of the actions. Okay? So past perfect action probably happened earlier than the past simple action. So however, it should be remembered that almost any story can be told using which tense? Past simple. It is often useful to look at these tenses together. Together, they can help us to tell stories within the context of the function of narrating, telling or relating past events. So let's take a look at some of these examples. Could you please read this paragraph? Who would like to read? If it's clear. Yes, go ahead. Curtains. Good. Let's identify the tenses in this paragraph. Past simple, often, looked, walked, and was. Past continuous. I know you are having problems following me, so I'm just going to read it, okay? So past continuous, were blowing. Past perfect, had left. Had left. Clearly someone had left. When did he leave? When did he leave? Before Bond came to the room. So it's the past perfect, okay, tense that tells us that this action happened before the past simple action. See, if you understand the tenses correctly, you'll understand the sequence, the order of the tenses, the order of the actions or the incidents in the story. Okay? Another example. By the way, this example is from a written example. Let's take a look at a dialogue. A and B are talking to each other. I saw a UFO once. You know UFO, right? So, well, I think it was one. Oh, yeah? Yeah, really. I was in the country. In the country means not in the city. Okay? Outside the city. In Yorkshire, on the moors. What were you doing up there? Oh, I was visiting some friends. They'd rented a cottage and we'd gone up to stay with them. Which verb are in the past simple? So, from the C and what? Past continuous? Past continuous? You can take a look here. Yes, very good. I was visiting and something else. The question, what were you doing up there? Past perfect. They rented, which is short for they had rented. Before he came there, his friends had rented. a cottage, and we'd gone. We had gone. Okay? Great. So today we're going to take a look at a very famous story teller. Could you please open to page 29? Page 29, please. The top where you have exercise number 4 on the right side. Okay? I need you to read this book cover. Just read it. What's the name of the story? Pride and prejudice, discrimination. Not liking someone because of his race or color or income or class, whatever. So pride and prejudice. Jane Austen. She's a famous English writer, and today we are going to read more about her. So could you please open pages 30 and 31. Now, exercise 1 says, you are going to read about one of English literature's major novelists, Jane Austen. She was born in 1775. When is that? 18th century. And died in 1817, the 19th century. Since the age of cinema and television, her novels, long stories, have become more and more popular. Why do you think this is? Why do you think? For reading. Why do you think her stories are becoming more and more popular? People like her. Very good. But this happened in the stories are set in the 18th and the 19th century. So the topic she wrote about must be relevant to us here in the 21st century. So it could be that the topic is very universal. Okay? Very universal. I can relate to the topics that she wrote about. 2 says, the following sentences have been removed from the text. Before we read the text, just read these sentences in the blue box, 1 to 6. Just read them. What do the sentences tell you about Jane Austen? What do you know about her? Okay. So, one, these novels were written by a genius. How do people regard Jane Austen? How do they regard her? What do they think of her? That she is what? Oh, they're intelligent. Okay? Jane Austen herself couldn't possibly have imagined this kind of worldwide fame. She could not have imagined that she would become so famous. So what does this tell you? That what? Very good. In her lifetime, she was not that famous. 3. Jane felt particularly miserable, very sad at this time, and she found it difficult to continue with her writing. So at some time in her life, her sadness, misery affected what? Her writing. 4. Television has led to worldwide fame for this quiet living sinister. Okay? We'll know in a while, in a minute, what sinister means. So what do you know about, what do you learn from this? That's what contributed to her famousness. Television, movies, and so on. The family often had to entertain themselves at home. Remember, this is the 18th and the 19th century. Did they have radio? Television? Smartphone? No. So how do they entertain past the time? They need to tell stories. So this is how she began to write stories. By this time, number 6, by this time Jane was 27, and by the standards of the day, on the shelf. What does on the shelf mean? Guess. Just guess. At that time, yeah, very good. Who said that? Yes? Yeah, she didn't marry. Okay, by the standards of that time, they thought that she was on the shelf, which means she hasn't married. She hasn't married by that time. Okay? So, before we begin reading now, I'd like to show you a list of vocabulary of words that you are going to find in the text. Okay, just share the paper because the same thing. Okay, so one paper per student. If you have extras, just bring them forward. All right. Adaptation. Adaptation. An adaptation of a play or a television. An adaptation of a play on television. Could be a play, it could be a book, a novel, a story, changed, adapted into a movie or a film. Anonymously. Anonymously is the adverb, without any name. Remember, she's a woman in the 18th and the 19th century. Perhaps she didn't want to be known. So she wrote her stories anonymously, without mentioning her name, without mentioning her real name. Okay? Without mentioning your real name. Huh? No, I don't think so, but perhaps she didn't want the attention. She didn't want the attention to her. Enduring, lasting, permanent, forever. Governess, is a woman who is employed to take charge of a child's upbringing and education, take care of a child, just like a babysitter right now. So penniless, less, homeless, without penny, without money. Penniless, without any money. Sinister, a woman still unmarried beyond the usual age of marrying. On the shelf, considered too old to be likely to marry. So these two are what? Similar. They're similar. Oscar is a very famous award for the best picture, the best actor, the best screenplay, and so on. Rumbling, spread out irregularly in various directions. Geniuses is a person who has an exceptional natural capacity of intellect, especially shown in creative and original work in science, art, and other fields. Okay? These are some of the words that you will find when you read the text about Jane Austen. Now I'm going to give you, yes, you have a question for the game? Sinister is someone who is not married, unmarried. Okay? But she is unmarried because she is a bit considered old. On the shelf is a woman who is what? Considered too old to be likely to marry. So it's synonymous. But this one on the shelf is an idiom. Okay? While sinister is a noun. An idiom is a combination of words, a number of words that have a certain meaning. Okay? You can't understand the meaning by analyzing each word on its own. So if you take just shelf, it doesn't have anything to do with marriage or women. Yes, you had a question? Which one? I try to explain it in English. Which one? Which one? Yeah, very good. So you got to the help you like. Huh? Alright. Now, I'll give you 8 minutes. Please read it as carefully as you can. While you do that, underline the tenses. Understand the order of the action or the incident in Jane Austen's life. What happened first? Okay? Remember, tenses help you understand the text. So I'll give you 8 minutes now, starting now. Try to read as much as you can. Active reading, underline, highlight. Yeah? Just this. Okay? Pages 30 and 31. I'll just take the attendance while we read. عهد فيصل, عهد تركيا, وضحى ألوان, وضحى فاطمة صالح, تهاني, حديد جابر, إيمان فؤاد, عائشة فيصل, مها متعب, أسماء معمر, نجاح تهاني, أسماء معمر بن نويس, نجاح ناهي, جواهر سعدون, جمانة, نهاية أحمد, نعم نغم, نغم أو نعم, نعم, حصة ناصر, حصة سليمان, خلود صالح, هيا رحم, إيمان فلاح, رنا عز الدين, خديجة حسين, ريما حسين, أنوار, أنوار صالح, أنوار زير, دلال علي, دلال, شيماء محمد, خولة منصور, دلال مهدي, منال سعد, رشا عبد الله, رشا, what's your name? Robert? The section is on Saturday, 2:02. Okay. Alright. Talk to me after the class, okay? Just remind me after the class. Alright, I have to interrupt here. I'll just start reading the introduction, so the oval shape, and then I'll let you read some parts and complete the paragraphs with the right sentence from exercise number 2. So, Jane Austen, one of the world's most downloaded authors. The latest film of Jane Austen's novel, Pride and Prejudice, grossed over. What does it mean? Very good. It means it won. Jane, the prophet won. Okay? Grossed over $121,147,947 worldwide, everywhere. When the BBC screened, showed its latest adaptation. What's adaptation? What's adaptation? I'm just giving you this piece of paper, vocabulary. Adaptation is to change, so to speak, a story or a novel into a TV or cinema movie or film. Okay, adaptation. So when the BBC screened its latest adaptation of the same novel, it was watched by a record 18 million British viewers. The series was then sold to 18 countries around the world. There are Jane Austen fans in all corners of the globe. What does corners of the globe mean? Worldwide. Another skill while we read is to identify synonyms, words that mean the same. So, worldwide, around the globe, are synonymous. So you underline them together or highlight them together. They mean the same. And special Jane Austen discussion groups on the internet. Jane is today one of the English literature's best known and best loved writers. The third most downloaded author after Charles Dickens and Mark Twain. Okay? So, then the beginning of the paragraph. It begins with in her lifetime she never once travelled abroad. Indeed, she hardly ever left the south of England. What do you think is the missing sentence here? Yes? Very good. Are you in our class? Yeah, but you are so late. Please. Salama, inshallah. Okay, have a seat. Again, please. Sorry. Number 2. Could you read it again? She wouldn't have or couldn't have imagined that she would become so famous around the world. Okay? Now, who would like to read the paragraph? Paragraph 1. Anyone? Yes, go ahead. Died. Had been published. What tense is this? Past perfect. Is it continuous? Since we have ing. Had been published. What tense is it? Passive. Very good. Who published the novel? If you want to identify a passive tense, ask yourself, who's the doer or the subject in this sentence? If there is nothing, then it's the passive tense. Okay, go on. All anonymously. Did she write her name, her real name? No. Pounds. Not thousands, just hundreds. So how much is that in today's dollars? This is how much money she got from her 6 novels. Okay? Yes, go ahead. 200 years. Persuasion. What are these? Her novels, her 6 novels. Okay? Who would like to read the second paragraph? Yes, Ms. Dalal. The secret. So we are going to learn about the reason. Why do people like her so much? Let's go ahead. Narrowness. What does narrowness mean? Her world was so narrow. She only knew 3 or 4 families in one village. Okay? Yes, go ahead. Enduring. Enduring, what does it mean? Lasting. Lasting. Never give me the meaning in Arabic. Try to explain yourself in English. Lasting. Forever. Yes. Plot? Plot means the incident, the action in the story. Yes. What's the missing sentence here? One. These novels were written by a genius. Okay? Good, thank you very much. Now what about the life of Jane Austen? How was her life? Happy, unhappy? Yes, at the back, what's your name, please? Asma. Okay? Have you got a book? Yeah, okay. Right. Go ahead, Asma. Well off. What does well off mean? Her family was not well off. They were not rich. Well off means rich. Before that, what's the missing sentence number 3? Yes, very good. Number 5. The family often had to entertain themselves at home. And so, let's go on. No? Good, go on, go on. Oh, one. Okay. So, proposal, you see, asked her for marriage. She briefly accepted. At the beginning, she accepted, then she changed her mind. Alright, who would like to read? Who would like to read? Yes, at the back. Yes, go ahead. Read, please. What's the missing sentence here? Number 4. Number 6. By the time Jane was 27, remember, she had 3 opportunities for marriage, and this didn't happen. By that time, she was 27. And by the standards of the day on the shelf. Let's go on, Miss Jawahar, go ahead. Penniless. What does penniless mean? Poor, without any money. Can you give me other examples where we use the suffix less? No. I didn't make myself clear. Less. I want other words with less. Homeless. What else? The reason I'm asking you because we had it. And unit 1. The one about home and house. Okay? So homeless. What else? Careless. Very good. Not weakness. Less. With else. Helpless or hopeless. Very good. Go on, please. A governess, like a babysitter, taking care of children. Yes. Institution. The institution of marriage. To be married. See? Because of her life, okay, these things influence her writing. So in her writing, in her novels, the idea of getting money and to be married is very important. Yes, go on. In 1801. Died. What do you think is the missing sentence here? Yes, very good. 3. Jane felt particularly miserable. Remember, her father died. She was moving from one house to another, staying with relatives. So at this time, she was very miserable, very sad. So Jane felt very particularly miserable at this time, and she found it difficult to continue with her writing. Yes, go on. It's the name of a place. I think you skipped a line. I think you skipped. Could you read from finally again? Had grown. What tense is that? Past perfect. Where she had grown before that. So if you understand the tense, you understand the sequence, the order of the action. Yes, go on. Prejudice. In 1813. You insist on the 19th century, huh? Alright, no problem. Was published, what tense is this? Was published? Past, simple, passive, very good. Jawahar, just read the last 2 lines here. Kidney. Yes, so she started writing before, but her novels were written only after she settled in her brother's house. Okay? Last paragraph would like to read it. Just go ahead. Good. Sinister. Have we got another word for sinister? Or another expression for sinister? And I don't need the explanation. Another expression for sinister. Sinister. Sinister on the shelf. Okay? So the same meaning. Let's go on.
People see the movie and then read the book, write and review, while devoted in a PPT
Poll is just like a questionnaire. They go out and ask people, what do you like? Which book do you like most? And they have all agreed. Just go on.
In the UK,
The nation, the whole of England.
The nation cannot live without. The actress Emma Thompson, who adapted Sense and Sensibility for the screen, went to jail on Sense, very research to gain thank you for the Hollywood Oscar she won for the film. As she said at the Oscar ceremony in Los Angeles, I do hope Jane knows how big she is
worldwide. We had an expression that had the same meaning as worldwide. Do you remember it? The whole expression. Huh? What's the whole expression? Four corners of the globe. So good strategy. Underline synonyms. Underline similar words, even though it's one word with an expression. Okay? Is that clear? Alright. Any questions? Any difficult words here in the text? Alright. I need you to do the exercise on your own about the reading text. But now we need to spend time on the writing part, which is on page 113. Page 113. Page 113. I think I've given you this before. It's a good way to revise. We have two sentences here. He drives slowly, and he's a slow driver. Slowly. Is this an adjective or an adverb? How do you know? Slowly is an adjective. Is it? What is the rule? How do I know whether it's an adjective or an adverb? Yes. When it's describing the verb or the action, then an adjective. One way, an adverb. One way to do it is to ask how. How does he drive? If you answer, if you could answer, say slowly, carelessly, fast, then it is what? An adverb. How? That's the question of how. He's a slow driver. Slow gives you information about the noun. Right? This is what? An adjective. Just the first practice you are going to do. You have sentences. And you have adverbs. I need you to rewrite the sentences using the adverb. So let's take a look. It's exercise number 2. We'll do number 2 and then come back to number 1, which is basically a writing topic. Okay? So we have here number 2. Put the adverbs or adverbial phrases, number of words which are adverbial, in the correct place in these sentences. Sometimes more than one place is possible. So as an example, let's take number 2. I used to go skiing to go skiing. Now we have two choices. Where can I put in winter? Where can I put in winter? Where can I put the adverbial phrase in winter? I used to go skiing in winter. At the end of the sentence. In winter. What do I want to use frequently? Where should I put it? Very good. I frequently used to go skiing in winter. Okay, so here we have three choices. I used to go skiing in winter. I frequently used to go skiing. I frequently used to go skiing in winter. We could have two adverbs in the same sentence. Now I needed to do the same thing with sentence number 2. Sentence number 2 you have, I enjoyed going to Colorado. We have two adverbials. With my family and specially. No. Just perhaps on YouTube. No. Perhaps on YouTube. Yeah, if you need worksheets and data, so I can give you that. Okay. Alright. At the end, inshallah, I'll show you where to get them. By the way, they are all Adanas. Everything I give them is on Adanas. Okay? If there's something missing, I can tell you. Yeah, the introduction. The introduction. I'll give you that. Yeah, inshallah. Okay, what do you think? What are the choices here? How can I rewrite the sentence using these adverbs? Examples? What's the sentence, by the way? I enjoyed going to Colorado. I enjoyed going to Colorado. How can I use, for example, with my family? Yes, Ms. Jalal? Good. What about specially? Good. Are there any other alternatives? It's at the back. Very good. So we have a number of choices. We could say, I especially enjoyed going to Colorado with my family. I enjoyed going to Colorado, especially with my family. Okay? So, when you tell a story, you need adverbials. You need adverbs. Why? Because you are telling a story. A story involves action. Right? And you need to describe the action. How did they happen? And so on. So you need adverbs and you need to know how to use them. Now, here I have given you something called a graphic organizer. A narrative graphic organizer. This is what I want you to do. As you read the text below, okay, just think about it. Think about the action. What is the main idea of this text? And then, what are the sequence or the order of the events that happened? Remember, by the end, you are supposed to write what is in exercise number 6, and which is introduced in number 1. To write about something dangerous, difficult, or horrible that happened to you in the past. You write a paragraph, not a paragraph, an essay with introduction, body, and conclusion, describing what happened to you in that incident or accident, whatever it is, whether it's positive or negative. But better to be bad thing, okay? Because you could use adverbs in that way. So, take a look at this story. I'm reading from exercise number 3. Read through the story of 2 British mountain climbers. They are Rachel Kelsey and Jeremy Colenso. Where were they? What went wrong? How were they saved? What does the text message mean? Texting to the rescue. They had a problem. In order to solve this problem, in order to escape from this ordeal, they had to send a text message. Of course, as you read, you can use the graphic organizer to organize the ideas in the text. So the first part is for the short introduction and the hook. Okay, the hook is how you get the attention of the reader. And you have the thesis. What's the thesis of this text? You can write it down in your own words. And then tell me part, which is what? What is all of this? What's all of this? The body. Okay? And we have a number of events. First event, second event, third event. And in each one we have examples or details, explanations. What happened? Why did they get into trouble? How did they solve the problem? Who helped them? Who rescued them? So you have the event, and under each one you have the details, the red part. See? And by the end, you have what? Don't think you can see this. Anyway, you have the picture. Okay? In the conclusion, you go back to the beginning, okay, and answer some of the questions that are mentioned in the introduction. Like, what happened? Who helped them? How were they rescued? Now, I'll give you 5 minutes. Read it, please. Read the text carefully. And try to write some notes in the graphic organizer. Let's switch section. Okay. Asking again at the end. Okay. Alright, I'm afraid we don't have time. We probably have another class coming in 10 minutes. So, texting to the rescue. On a mid-September day, British climbers Rachel, Chelsea, and a partner were climbing in the Swiss Alps. So this is the introduction. We know the setting. They were climbing the Swiss Alps. They were both experienced climbers. And when they left their base, where they have their tent, the weather was good. They reached the summit, the top of the mountain, but as they started to climb down, an electric storm struck the mountain. Snow began to fall, making it difficult to see where they could put their hands and feet on the rock, so they couldn't see around them. So this is the first event. What's the first event? That there is what? What happened? An electric storm and snow fell on them. Snow began to fall, making it difficult to see where they could put their hands and feet on the rock. After several frightening minutes, they found a narrow ledge, part of the mountain, and climbed onto it, hoping that the snow would stop and they could continue their descent, climbing downward, descent. The snow didn't stop and the temperature dropped to -10. We had to stay awake, not sleep. Stay awake, said Rachel, because it was so cold that we would have died. So we told stories and rubbed our fingers and toes to keep them warm. So the second event, that they moved into the ledge and the temperature dropped, and we have the details. What are the details? That they rubbed their fingers and toes and so on. They decided that they had to get help. Third event, they want help. How did they solve this problem? But what could they do? Rachel had brought her mobile phone with her, but the only number contacts she had were in London. Remember, where is she? Swiss Alps. She sent a text message at 1:30 a.m. to get help. She sent the same text to 5 friends in the UK. It read, "Need heli." What's heli? Helicopter. Helicopter. Short for helicopter. Need heli rescue off North Ridge of Pispadale, Swiss. They were all asleep, so nothing happened. But at 5 a.m., one friend, Avery Cunliffe, got the message. He jumped into action, called the rescue services. All of these, what do we call them? Details. So in the exam, if you are asked to describe a horrible or a dangerous accident that happened to you, this is how you are supposed to do it. Okay? Organize your ideas. Use words that indicate that this is the first thing that happened, this is the second thing that happened, and under each one, you must have some details or examples. So he jumped into action, called the rescue services in Switzerland, and called Rachel to tell her that help was coming. The weather was too bad for the helicopters to operate, but Avery kept sending the text messages to the climbers. At about 10 p.m. they were lifted off the mountain. We owe our lives, we are indebted. We owe our lives to Avery, they said when they were back at base. Okay? So this is a very brief way on how to write a story or tell a story or tell or narrate an accident that happened to you. Now, there's something missing here. Adverbs. On the right, for each line, just each line, you have a number of adverbs. I'll just pick on the first one. Several years ago. Where should I put it in the first line? Is it? On a mid-September day, several days ago, comma, British climbers Rachel, Kelsey and a partner were, and then we have two or just one adverb, choice, either high or with great confidence. Climbing what? No, the second line, not the third one. They were climbing with great confidence. Okay, in the Swiss Alps. High in the Swiss Alps. They were climbing with confidence high in the Swiss Alps. Let's take the third line. Okay, they were both experienced climbers. They were both relatively experienced. Not that experienced, relatively experienced. So the three lines indicate how you could use the adverb on the right in each line. Remember, each adverb on the right is just for the line, first line, second line. So you don't need to look everywhere, okay? Just the line. Now your task for next week. Don't send it. What? Someone ask a question? Alright. So as I was going, your task for next week. Okay? Don't send me anything by email. Just write an assignment, an essay, describing what's mentioned in exercise number 6. So exercise number 6 says, using your notes. Notes about what? Dangerous situation that happened to you. What, where, when, with whom were you, and what happened next, and so on. Using the notes you made earlier, write the story of your dangerous experience, about 250 words. Begin with the background information. Remember, WH question. Where, when, why. Describe the events in the order that they happened. Remember this one? The order. First event, second event, third event with details. Make sure that you use what? Plenty of adverbs to describe people's feelings and actions. So one skill that I needed to pick up in your writing is what? Or to use in your writing is to use adverbs. Which adverbs? There are plenty of them here. You can use these adverbs that are here. Okay? Share your stories as a class. Never mind this. But don't send by email. Don't send anything by email. Just write it down on a piece of paper and bring it to me. Okay? Next week, inshallah. No. Now, this is just for taking notes. By the way, this is called a graphic organizer, just to organize your ideas. So you only intern or write notes. Okay? Any question? Alright. What's your section? You want to switch to another section? But we are not supposed to switch students to another section. Unless they have something very urgent, okay? One time, you didn't miss the class, you want to come to another class, okay. Just in case, I have a class on Saturday, just in case, okay? Not continuously. I have a class on Saturday, 5 to 7. section 202, and room FW202, from 5 to 7 on Saturday. Girls, don't want to come with boys, right? I have another section for boys. Yeah, only 2 sections, today and on Saturday. I have other sections, but only for boys. Now, by the way, next week, inshallah, our all class downstairs, unless I send you an email, okay? GW106, that's our class.
And for 202, is it going to be the same or FW202?
FW202.
Now, what happened